Hello friends, today we will make a simple watercolor landscape practice. So I have already made a drawing and the reference for this image is from a Facebook page called Painting References. So I am using a Indian handmade paper called Chitrapat and the thickness is 270 GSM. Okay, so at this point I am suggesting some of the houses. I'm giving some initial layer for the houses, and let us start now from the sky. Very simple sky, bluish sky, a little darker at the top. I'm using a bit of cerulean blue and maybe touch of cobalt blue, and making it light as it comes down. The approach will be mostly wherever possible wet on wet. So trying to suggest some distance mountains using a darker tone. So the exact color doesn't really matter because it will turn out to be very light. So some darker shadow color sort of things should be fine. And just dropping in some darker color as I come down, and for some color variation, some dropping in of darker tones, so that a lot of things will be lost and found. Some vegetations will be darker, some lighter. The colors are a little bit of burnt sienna and cobalt blue, ultramarine blue, and touches of green, various mixes. As we come down, make the washes slightly thicker so that we get darker tones, leaving some whites in between which may suggest as some road or some pathways. Precision is not important, just suggesting some plane changes, suggesting some vegetation. So this is not a precision work. This is you can take this as a practice work, some kind of a rough practice or a casual practice, where the importance is given more on to the ideas and not on the precise outcomes. Now we need to paint around those houses drawn by suggesting some thicker foliages around the houses. This is in real time. I didn't speed it up, so it is in real time. So some of the color mixing time other decision making times are skipped, but the actual painting process is in real time. You don't have to worry about the exact thing that I am doing, but rather you can pay attention to the approach. And try to understand the reasons behind this approach. I am not telling that you should always go for this approach. This is one of the approach. Maybe If I do it on another day, my approach might change. Some yellowish green, warm green for the field in the foreground. It's a mix of green and orange, yellows. Doesn't really matter which green, which yellow, which orange. You just judge the warm, and the tones, basically the temperature and the tone. I would say whenever you do, rather than just comparing it against the reference, take a few steps back and see how does it read. It should read well rather than it matching with the reference. It doesn't really matter if it doesn't match precisely with the reference, but overall it should read well. As a standalone painting, it should be reading or it should be convincing to the viewer. Some darker tones near the foreground. Really not worried about the precision here, as I told. Now let us add some more darker touches in fact, to suggest some of the distant trees and a bit more interest and volume to the far end hills. Again, it's a suggestive approach. All the trees and the vegetations are just suggested. Always look at the big picture rather than looking at each individual trees. Look at the overall visual suggestions, visual sense that is being created. Whenever you do these kind of things, as I told, take a few steps back and look at the overall picture and decide where you need some dark touches, where you need small suggestions, etc. Sorry, some of the shadows are covering the painting, my shadows of my hand. Some darker touches for the walls and the shadow areas of the houses. Again, this also is just a suggestion. I'm not going for any precision. These are very distant steps, so doesn't really concern much. But it should have some light facing and dark areas, that's it. So that the overall object shape is defined. We could have done more precise thing, more tonal corrections there. That this stroke went little off, so I'm lifting up some color. So this work is very small scale work. It is around A4 size, so don't have to, so we cannot make it very precise, so in such a small scale. So the objective is to go for impressionistic style, suggesting the details. Here again some darker tones for the grass or something in the foreground. Again, not precise, just suggestion. That's it. I think we are mostly done. As I told, I will not be going for much details or much precisions. If you wanted, we could have given more precisions. Since it's a small scale study sort of thing, I'm just going for less details. If you liked it, if you think that your approach is good, your overall composition did work, and it can be interesting if it is translated into big scale. What I would suggest is that you take a bigger sheet of paper and translate it into a big scale work, and at that time you go for precision and accuracies in terms of shapes and tones and brushworks. So hope this was informative. Some texture was added with some splashing of colors, drops. Hope this was informative. I think I am done here. I've taken out the tape now for the crisp white edges. So overall it is, I think it is convincing enough. As a study, it reads well. As a practice, it reads well. So I think it is a subject which is worth translating in a bigger scale. So this is the final photo taken in the open light. I think the tones, the light and the darker tones, they're all reading well. As a composition also, it reads pretty decent. So hope you have enjoyed from this particular exercise, and please keep practicing. The regular practice is more important than precise work. So see you soon. Thank you.